Hello, welcome to the video. I'm going to be testing out the 4070 Ti in Diablo 4. Going to check out some 4K and 1440p. As you can see here, I'm at 4K at the moment, 3840 by 2160. I'm going to play with everything fully maxed out. As you can see here, Ultra. We've got everything on the highest setting. So let's have a look. Okay, so in this town area, it seems like we've got about 100 FPS at 4K, which is not too bad. Dipping slightly under. In this area, it normally drops the frame rate a little bit compared to when you're outside. VRAM sitting at, we're at, well, maxed out allocated 12 gig. We're actually only using about half of that. 6.6. I imagine that will probably just keep going up and up the longer we play. But overall, seems it's a pretty easy game to play, really. I'm going to check it out on my 8 gig cards too. But the lower VRAM doesn't seem to make too much of a difference in terms of the actual game. It'll just seems to max out your VRAM no matter what you have. Like, it allocates almost 100% of whatever VRAM you have. But it doesn't seem to affect game performance. As you can see, we're actually, well, now we're using 7.6.
I need more spirit.
So we're using slightly more. But in this scenario, even 8 gig right now would be enough. I think for the minimum is recommended is 2 gig, I think. Obviously, you'd be playing on a lower resolution, but pretty smooth experience. Frame times pretty decent. Frame rate hasn't actually increased too much outside. I thought maybe we'd get slightly more FPS, but it's actually, if anything, a little bit lower here. Kind of roughly the same, really, on average.
I need more spirit.
Power consumption as well on the GPU, not too bad. Sitting around about 240, 250. For 4K, that's not too bad.
I'm out of spirit.
We can. I'm going to have a quick look with DLSS and frame generation. There does seem like there's a bit of a bug in this game. Maybe I can show you. So if we put DLSS quality on, the upscaling will, obviously as expected, get higher frames. So we're getting about 140. 144. Which is pretty nice for 4K.
I'm not ready yet.
Don't really notice higher frame rates so much in a game like this, but you know, even at native we're sitting over 100. So you don't really notice so much of a difference between 100 and 130, 140. And I'll check frame generation too. That seems like a bit of a bug in this game where, with some of my other cards I tested on the 4090, we actually dropped frames, lower frames, when I switched frame generation on, which I've never seen before. So if we switch DLSS and frame generation on, same thing, it kind of happens here as well. Getting slightly less frames, which I've never seen before. I've never seen frame generation do that, so I don't know. I have heard this, pretty much everyone's having the same issue, so I know it's not just isolated to anything I'm doing. Obviously some sort of bug in the game.
I'm out of spirit.
Which, hopefully that gets sorted out. So even if I go to native, so we get slightly higher frames from native with frame generation, 116. If I then switch that off, yeah, so about 15 to 16 FPS higher using frame generation at native. But once, if you have any of the upscaling on it seems to do the reverse for some reason. Which is kind of odd. Same thing happened on the 4090, 4080. Exactly the same thing. So I know it's not a hardware problem.
I must wait a moment.
Definitely in the game. Right, so here's 1440p in the city area. Hitting kind of about double what we were in 4K. We were about 100 at 4K. Here we're hitting about 200. It's a pretty decent increase. VRAM, as I was saying before, the allocation still pretty much 100%. I think it'll always be like that. But obviously dedicated VRAM is lower than what we were at 4K. So even something like this 1440p on an 8 gig card I think would play perfectly fine. It will probably likely increase the longer we play, but we're still at the moment only just over half that, so very decent performance at 1440p. Frame time looks nice as well.
I must wait a moment.
I'm gonna get destroyed here.
I'm not ready yet.
Get out of that. No. I'll stick with the guy.
I'm low on spirit.
Here we go.
I cannot carry anymore.
And we're maxed out on our backpack. Yeah, see, VRAM here has gone up to about 5 now, 5.2. Power consumption, still kind of similar to what we were at 4K. Slightly lower, but... slightly lower by about maybe 5 or 10 watts. Not huge. So we're around about just over 200. If I switch DLSS quality on, should give us a nice boost. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, so we've got this. We've got another weird. Oh no, okay, there. I don't think it had loaded in. Looks like it's loaded in now. Maybe there's something there. That's what's happening with frame generation. Maybe it's just not loading in. But we're getting kind of around about 250 now. Increase of about 50 FPS. On average. Sometimes slightly higher, sometimes slightly less. See, hitting almost 280, 290 now.
I'm not ready yet.
But I'm thinking, if I switch frame generation on and then leave it for a bit, maybe it needs to load in or something. So you see like a reduction in frames again. I have noticed here too, our GPU usage is dropped a little bit too, 90%, 85%. So we're not even 100% utilized on the GPU. Not really particularly using tons. I mean, we're using more CPU than we were at 4K. It's kind of expected at 1440p. And possibly because we're got DLSS on as well, it becomes a bit more CPU bound. Switch that off. Maybe that's frame generation causing it. Yeah, that looks like it is. We switch that off. Back up to basically the max again. That's going to be it for this video, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Make sure to drop me a like, drop me a comment, and I'll catch you in the next one.